According to the latest poll on the topic, the majority of Americans, regardless of their political affiliation, believe that cancel culture has gone too far. Now, this poll was done by the Hill and Harris, and here are the details. Here's what they found. 71% of registered voters said that they strongly or somewhat believe that cancel culture has gone too far. By contrast, only 29% of respondents said that they believe a little or not at all. Now, I think that this is a fascinating survey specifically because of the fact that this is a hotly contested topic, right? You have one group that says cancel culture is completely made up. The opposing group says, no, cancel culture is absolutely real. I've been pretty clear about where I stand on the issue. I think that cancel culture is certainly made up when it comes to individuals like Barry Weiss or people who are public figures who seem to get promoted the more they complain about cancel culture. But there are just normal, ordinary people who do end up being the worst victims of cancel culture, right? So we had shared a story about a video that had been taken out of context, and the video was taken out of context to make it seem as though two people were mocking the murder of George Floyd. But it turns out that that's not what they were doing at all. The longer video in context just showed two individuals like play fighting with each other. And so the people involved in that video got fired from their jobs. They suffered some pretty serious consequences. So when you look at ordinary people, I do think that there is some truth to the issue of cancel culture, right? But if Dave Chappelle, for instance, gets some backlash, but he's able to keep putting out more specials on Netflix, no, I don't think that that's an example of cancel culture. Let me give you some more details. If you break it down by party lines, 76% of Republicans, unsurprisingly, but also 70% of Democrats and 68% of independents said that they either strongly or somewhat agree that cancel culture has gone too far. Now, Waz, you talk about this quite a bit. I've seen you discuss it on your Twitch stream and in other contexts. And I wanted you to kind of weigh in on your thoughts in response to this poll.
I mean, all it shows is that, and I hate to both sides this, but like both sides want to cancel people, right? We want to cancel Dave because he's saying mean things about the genitals of trans people on his comedy special. And we want to cancel my man Mark Lamont Hill for being anti-Israeli regime, right? Like anti-Bibi Netanyahu and their policy towards the Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza, right? Like both are true, you know what I mean? And then, I remember the young lady from Teen Vogue getting fired outright for tweets that were 10 years old. Like, it's true, it's rampant on both ends of the spectrum, and it's ridiculous. Again, for the 3 millionth time, my general rule of thumb is that people probably shouldn't be fired from their jobs just for things that they say on the internet, right? Save for being like, yo, everybody go kill this person, or everybody go harm this person and causing bodily harm or financial harm or some type of actual tangible harm to people. I think it's ridiculous, and then of course, when right wingers try to do it for the various reasons that they do it, it's equally ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I don't think it's both sidesing it when it's absolutely true, right? So we shared an example on the show today of a principal in Texas whose contract was not renewed because the board of trustees unanimously voted against renewing his contract because they're convinced that he's like teaching critical race theory or allowing that curriculum within the high school. So in essence, the right wing has basically destroyed someone's livelihood over a manufactured culture war. They have canceled him because of this made up nonsense, right? And then, on the other hand, I shared that example earlier of people who just immediately react to a video they see online that purports to show one thing, but then you come to find out that it was taken out of context. And people suffered very serious consequences because of that, right? And I think part of the issue Well, there are a lot of different things at play. I don't know if this was always true in America or if this is a relatively new phenomenon, but we need to be willing to have difficult conversations, and we need to provide space for people to make mistakes, but also to progress and get better, right? I think that right now what we're seeing is absolutely no incentives to improve as a person. And like recently I corrected errors that I had made in reporting the Kyle Rittenhouse story, not because I'm looking to like gain favor toward anyone, but because I actually care about the audience knowing the truth about the trial. And if I messed up, I'm gonna admit that I messed up. That's what I did. And the reaction that you get from people, it's like, no, you're worried about a lawsuit, or I'm not worried about a lawsuit at all. I was going off of reported news that was inaccurate. We didn't do original reporting on that story, and I messed up and I corrected the record. But it's like this, there's this environment that just really does not incentivize people to do better, to have difficult conversations, or to admit when they're wrong. So people end up kind of like digging their heels and refusing to change, because if you ever admit guilt, or if you ever apologize, instead of saying, hey, it takes a big person to do that, everyone on the other side is like, you're a bad person and you intentionally lied and you should be fired. That kind of stuff drives me nuts, especially when it comes to getting people fired. I think there's some context where it makes sense. Like if we're talking about, let's say, a teacher who has a history of saying awful racist things. We're talking about an educator who needs to educate students from all different backgrounds, But in other situations, like, what good is it gonna do for society if Dave Chappelle is like blacklisted completely? Is your life really gonna get better? I don't think so.
Yeah, and there was another recent example where a young white lady yelled at this black dude at a dog park in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and she told him to go back to his hood, and they took it as a racial thing and all of this. And then the dude got on Twitter and was like, this white woman was racist. Let's tag her employer. Let's get her fired right now. We shouldn't be rewarding that type of look at me behavior. I'm sorry, we shouldn't reward that. What that dude was doing, unacceptable, super freaking corny. Nobody deserves to get fired because they yelled at some guy at a dog park on their day off. I'm sorry, bro. I think this woman, she worked in like, I forget, like PR or something. It's not like she worked in some highly vital job. It's like, dude, it's gone way too far. And just the internet lynch mob aspect of it all is the part that's most annoying. It's just like, guys, give it a break.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.